Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan, and today I will be exploring some of the difficulties that special needs students experience within schools and the schooling system. So, I will first start by discussing some of these common difficulties. I will then discuss how schools currently attempt to ameliorate this issue and how they have attempted to address the issue in the past. I will then look at whether separating special needs students from regular students is the best method of approach. And finally, I will discuss how to build an all-inclusive environment to allow all students within a class to thrive. Now, some of these common difficulties that special needs students can experience often stem from certain events, certain things that can occur during transition periods to school. A study from Chadwick and Kemp in 2002 described these as intrinsic and extrinsic factors. So some of these intrinsic factors they covered were the academic preparedness of the child, the social skill level of the child, and finally the satisfaction expected from the new education system, which was found to be different for each child. Some of the extrinsic factors were the school that was being moved to, some of the teacher approaches towards inclusion programs, parental concerns that can occur during the transition period, support services available, and finally, cooperation that was related to effective transition processes. Now, another study from Bolu Steve et al. In 2017 looked at some of the common things that special needs students often suffer from. Um, Low self-esteem is a big one. This can often result to typically antisocial behaviors, which then knocks on to them leading into aggressive behaviors, often creates no self-confidence, and gives them feelings of self-defeatism. Family relationships have also been found to hold some determination towards a child's academic success. Typically, if a parent is uneducated about their child's condition, they are unconcerned about their child's condition. Also, it's been found that a lack of love and affection from parents often leads to more emotionally unstable children. Anxiety. So special needs students often suffer from heavy anxiety. This can be about their future or sustaining themselves. Some students also are anxious about the nature of their deformity. There can be contextual issues. For example, a study from Bancroft in 2001 looked at Nigerian education funds and found that there were not nowhere near enough funds to be able to adequately support those with special needs, which also links on to having insufficient equipment and support services for special needs students. Some students often have fear of the future as well. This typically relates to employment opportunities. Um, some special needs students will also suffer from inferiority complexes. A study from Bang in 2005 found that the public often see the special needs students as a nuisance, and they are typically not seen as full members of society. Finally, unfortunately, schools can be a brutal place. Discrimination between peers and humiliation between students is almost likely to occur. Now, how some of these special needs schools have attempted to ameliorate the issue. To start off, we have the Salamanca Statement Framework, which was covered in a study from Ainscough et al. In 2013. The Salamanca Statement is one of the most significant international documents within the field of special needs education, and refers to, in essence, refers to have regular schools that have inclusive orientation are the most effective means to combat discriminatory attitudes, building inclusive societies, and achieving education for all. This essentially encourages people to look at education difficulties in a new light. So instead of having the education difficulties stem from the child, having the education difficulties stem from the system. So getting the system to change to meet the child's needs. They also covered a principled approach to education. which in essence discusses the fundamental rights for all children to attend education, and must be given equal opportunity to achieve and maintain acceptable learning levels. Um, it discusses how every child is unique with their own characteristics, interests, abilities, and learning needs. Um, it also discusses that systems and programs that are designed and implemented need to account for a wider diversity. And finally states that special needs students must have access to regular schools, and those regular schools should accommodate their special needs students. It has also been encouraged that teachers discuss between each other. Um, the classroom can be a very intensive area, and oftentimes for teachers, they don't get much chance to stop and think about their teaching methods. So it is encouraged that within downtime, teachers discuss their own classes, their own methods, and allows them to reflect on their own teaching methods. And finally, the IDEA, which stands for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. This was done to ensure that there was free and appropriate education for all children, which was originally made in 1975. Now, determining whether separation is the best method, there are different kinds of methods and models that have been found within certain research. Um, this can be giving students basic in-class support for their special education. Um, this could also be the pull-out model, which refers to withdrawing students that need special education into their own separate resource rooms for their support. Or there is also the full inclusion model, which refers to integrating students into general classrooms that have two teachers, one of which will have the special education qualifications needed. Now, is there actually a best method? Unfortunately, there are heavily conflicting results. There has sometimes been found to have no differences between handicapped and non-handicapped classmates. This is in terms of social status, reciprocal friendships, loneliness, self-esteem, and self-perception of social acceptance. Some studies have found a significantly lower quality of academic and social experience whilst in education. For example, they've been less accepted by peers, they've been more lonely. They've also had a lower academical self-concept. And some studies have also found that their students have better experiences if they are using collaborative means between peers instead of a co-teaching inclusion, which is interesting. But however, typically those who are included in general classrooms had overall better experiences, both academically and socially. So it's hard to define one as the best method because there's such conflicting evidence here. So the best discussing on how to build an all-inclusive environment, um, teacher-student collaboration. This have giving students more exposure towards the system and towards other students gives them future experience. This essentially discusses that focuses on social inclusion rather than academic and cultural inclusion. Variety and flexibility in teaching. This is more involved with the teachers, having the teachers observe what their students are good at and what they are not good at, and then changing their systems and plans accordingly. Links to this, watching the students' strengths and weaknesses, also having students engaged in their planning and evaluating of learning experiences. A study from Chawate in 2000 found that this is more likely to improve academic achievement. And finally, exposure to inclusive service models, giving the teachers the resources that they are going to need to be able to help their students is potentially one of the biggest things. If the resources aren't there, how are the teachers going to help? So, in conclusion, keeping students in the same area is most likely to give them the most experience or most future life experience that they can use. Adjusting plans for students allows them to develop, and giving teachers the resources to be able to help their students is key. And the key point is to be flexible within the system. So, my name is Ryan, and I thank you all for watching.